Well, first of all, listen, it's interesting about all these young guys today. They never call on us and say, hey, thanks for the kind word and telling me how great a player I am. But when they play like crap and we call them out, we don't know what we're talking about. Listen, I'm easy to find.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your host, Nathan Snell of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. I hope you're all having a great week. Happy Friday. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all staying safe. Hope the day was good. Hope you're all ready for the weekend. This is episode 8, season 11 of the podcast. In this episode, we are giving our outlook for the MLB playoffs postseason. But before we get into this, a few things I want to say up front. Be on the lookout for the Commanders and Ravens previews for week 5, painfully, and Maryland Terrapins preview as well, football. If you have not seen other episodes, please check those out if you haven't already. Thank you for the new subs. I appreciate you. As far as the episodes being uploaded on Spotify, I have been behind on that. I will get those uploaded as soon as possible. So please be patient with me as we are progressing slowly but efficiently. But I cannot do this episode alone. I brought a very special guest with me. Ladies and gentlemen, the host of Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. I Want the Smoke. Nicholas Rosario is joining me. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Nicholas Rosario Jr. to Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast.
Hey. What's up, Nate? How are you?
What's going on, Nick? How you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. It's Friday night. I'm here in Chi-Town enjoying the cool October weather, but not too bad today. We had a nice 50-degree day with sunshine, so pretty good stuff. I'm just, as they say, hanging and banging and ready to talk some baseball. So thank you for having me on the program, sir. That's right.
Thank you for taking the time and joining me this evening. I do appreciate you for that. Thank you.
No problem, man. You're welcome.
It's been one interesting season. We got to 162 games in the midst.
Yes, we did.
In the midst of a strike. I was very concerned. I didn't think there would be baseball. We got we're at 100 days, and then it all came to their senses like, oh, we're going to play ball.
No.
So really quick, we're going to start off with retirements as of recently. We had some retirements throughout the season, but 3 that stuck out to me the most: David Price, Kurt Suzuki, and Stephen Vogt. David Price, we all know he went to that school in Vanderbilt. Tampa Bay Rays, Boston Red Sox, Dodgers. Great pitcher. If you have my feet to the fire, I think he was definitely the definition of an all-star. What is your fondest memory of David Price?
David Price, probably the one. Oh, man, and I know. I hope I don't mess this up because I'm pretty sure this is the right memory. But I'm getting older, Nate, and I'm trying to. I get stuff mixed up sometimes. But there was a playoff game where he pitched a masterpiece, maybe a couple years ago, I believe it was, for Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. And I remember while watching the game, I'm pretty sure it was David Price, but he pitched like 7, 8, just like magnificent innings in a playoff game, and I just thought, man. It's a shame because he started to fall off in the last few years in terms of just being able to really be productive in the way that he should have been. But overall, as a career, yeah, David Price, I think will go down. I mean, again, he's probably not Hall of Fame David Price, but he had a good career, and I don't think he should be disappointed at all with the career he had. So, but overall, yeah, David Price, like I said, a few memories, but again, that one playoff game for some reason sticks out in my head as far as that goes.
Right. My fondest memory of David Price is I got to see him 3 times in 3 different teams.
They're right. There you
other
go.
than Tampa, I know you played for Detroit for 2 seasons. Then went to Toronto, Boston. He's with LA. Even though he didn't, the year they won the World Series, he did not play a single game.
Right, correct. That he wasn't on technically on the roster or whatever for
so
postseason or whatever, right?
I mean, David Price is, I would say, probably one of the best left-handed pitchers I saw growing up. I think I agree with what you said. He's not Hall of Fame, but 5-time All-Star, champion, Cy Young. I think he actually led the American League in wins. I think 1 year. So
yeah, very possible. Yes.
When you look back on it, you go you wish you had a David Price on your team. Yep.
Oh, for sure. He had some good runs. That's what I'm saying. It's a good career. Nothing to be sad about or anything, but I do think it was his time. He had lost some effectiveness. He just wasn't pitching as well as he had been in previous years. And, sometimes you just got to know when to hang them up, right?
Yep.
Things just aren't working, going your way. And it's some guys stick around too long. Some guys leave early. Yep. Just what I think David Price left at the right time. So I'm happy for him. Hope he enjoys retirement. Like I said, he had a good career. So.
Yep. Next, Kurt Suzuki. Former Major League catcher this year was with the Anaheim Angels. It was actually interesting. They let him actually go on the field to get his final strike, and they took him out for Max Strassi. That's his name.
Okay. Yeah.
My fondest memory of Kurt Suzuki, he was part of that. He hit the game-winning home run against the Mets when they were down.
Oh, okay.
It was crazy bottom of the ninth inning game. And he hit the game-winning home run. So that's my fondest memory of Kurt Suzuki.
I don't know that I have a particular memory, but obviously I saw Kurt play, because I am a White Sox fan. So, American League would always come to, and I've seen the Angels a few times in the last few years at Comiskey Park, which that's what I still call it.
Yep.
Guaranteed rate nothing. It's Comiskey Park, buddy. Always. But so I've seen Suzuki a few times, so why? Because I always wanted to go see Ohtani. So I always went and saw the Angels play because, you always want to see Shohei play. But anyways, again, I digress. But, Kurt's another one. As far as catchers go, catching is a really tough position, man, because you're on your feet, you're bending your feet, your legs. You got to be in shape, and then you still got to be able to run. You go up there and hit. You got to run the bases. I've always had nothing but respect for catchers. So, Kurt, again, another guy who had a pretty decent career, was with a couple of teams. But, I think Kurt will be, it's funny because there's so many guys, honestly, who play baseball from the minor leagues. Some guys get up, some guys go back down. They have those back and forth, with 30 teams in baseball and 25-man rosters. I mean, there's so many guys who play baseball throughout the years. And Kurt would probably fall somewhere in the middle range of all those guys, if we're being completely honest, right? Wasn't great, wasn't bad, somewhere average.
Yep.
So he's probably somewhere, in the middle of catchers in terms of that. But again, another guy who had a nice career. I'm sure he'll be happy with retirement. I'm sure, less pressure on the knees. I'm sure he'll, be able to just enjoy whatever he's going to enjoy.
Yes.
But, obviously not the greatest Suzuki to ever play baseball, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Kurt, nonetheless, still had a pretty good career,
Yep. I agree with that. And finally, Stephen Vogt. Hit his
that's your guy, isn't it?
Yes. He hit his, ironically, when he started, was it 9 years ago? He his debut at bat was a home run, and his last at bat was a home run.
Right. Okay.
And
it was a home run. So that's a beautiful moment.
Yep, and it was good to see. It really put a smile on your face to hear his kids as he's walking to the plate call his name. That was really cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they let him do that. Like, honestly,
Yeah.
that's one of those things where you're like, that shows you organization sometimes, because everybody likes to criticize organizations, right, when they don't do something right.
Yep.
Here's an example where an organization got it right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you honor the guy who's given you 9 years in the big leagues. You know, let the kids introduce him. It's a great moment. Kids will never forget it. He'll never forget it. So yeah, that's a nice thing to do for a guy, you know, going out.
Yep,
I agree. Thing.
2-time All-Star. Wishing him all the best in his future endeavors post-retirement.
We'll probably see him on ESPN calling baseball games or something to watch.
Never know. I agree. You never know.
Right,
you never know. You never know.
Those guys they always pluck guys who played the game like, hey, come on, let's do some announcing.
Yep.
I'm gonna do some of that.
There's a couple other guys that did retire. Edwin Jackson, he retired before the season was over. Tony Watson.
Talk about a journeyman. What did he play? Like 10 teams? I think he did stints with both the Cubs and the White Sox. Like Edwin Jackson's been everywhere.
He even played for that guy was a year.
That's what I'm saying. Like Jackson's been everywhere. That guy's like he's the journeyman pitcher of like American or baseball just in general. Like everybody knows who Edwin Jackson is. He's like I said, he played at least 10 different teams. So you got to give him that. He had probably a longer career than he probably should have. So kudos to Edwin Jackson.
I think he might have played for 14 because I think what's his name? Octavio Dotel.
Dotel. Yeah.
I think he played for 13. I think he played for 13 games.
Oh, did he beat the record? Did he beat him?
Yeah, it was 14.
Did he beat him?
I think it is. I think Jackson played for 14. I think the last team
Look at that. That's
Tigers, I want to say.
That's almost half the teams in the Major League Baseball. So there you go.
Exactly.
Edwin's been everywhere. He's probably got 14 jerseys in his house too, one from every team, just hanging up somewhere or something.
It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me.
That's an accomplishment in and of itself. You think about it. Play for
Bobby
14 different teams. Hey, Bobby, how you doing, buddy?
Yes. Now we're going to transition into the most the hottest take so far of this season. Aaron Judge is now the AL home run king, surpassed Roger Maris.
Right.
But for some unknown reason, we're bringing up Barry Bonds' name. Is he the true home run king? Is that record? Is now Aaron Judge's home run record? Is this the record? Talk to me, Nick. Like, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, it's an interesting thing because for you baseball purists out there, and I don't want to pretend like I'm 100% in that camp. I mean, I love the way baseball used to be, but you're not going to take the 70 away from Barry in that sense. You could be mad at him for taking the PEDs. You can call him cheater. You can call him whatever you want. But the fact is, his 70 home runs are on the record books. The same way Pete Rose's 4,122 hits are still the most in Major League Baseball. You can hate the person or not like the person or ban them from baseball, whatever, but their records still stay there.
Yep.
So as much as that's an accomplishment for Aaron Judge, and it is, 61 home runs by Maris was an American League record, and he broke that. So I absolutely give Aaron Judge his props for that. But as you know, for some reason, baseball pundits always like to stir stuff up. Beat reporters and all that always have to put their 2 cents in. Well, but Barry Bonds hit 70. Well, yes, he did. And guess what? People cheered when Barry hit his 70 because it looked great hitting balls into the water at that San Francisco park there, okay? Everybody loved it. He hit balls into the water, all the time. So, yes, as much as I'm not, and I'll be honest, I've met Barry Bonds. I don't know, not that I'm not trying to name drop, but for those of you who may or may not remember this, there was a movie called Rookie of the Year that filmed in Chicago in 1992. It's the story of the Cubs winning the World Series. Okay, right. Barry Bonds had a cameo in that movie where the kid strikes out Barry Bonds. I was there the day that Barry was there because I was an extra on the movie. So I got a quick maybe 5 seconds to chat with Barry Bonds and say hello. This was skinny Barry when he was still with the Pirates. This was early in his career.
Right.
It was 92, right. This was skinny outfielder Barry Bonds, not jacked up, 280 Barry Bonds that you saw later on in his career. And, he said hello. He was fairly cordial. I just said, hey, Barry, I'm a big fan because I was. I love those early Pirate teams with Bobby Bonilla, Eddie Van Slyke, and, Barry Bonds. So I just, hey, Barry, I'm a big fan. Nice to meet you. He was very cordial. That was it. 5-10 seconds. We were done. But as you find out about these things, and again, Barry was one of those polarizing figures because he didn't like to talk to the media. But if you think about it, you guys gave him a reason not to talk because all you did was bring the guy down. Like, let's be honest. Every time they talked about Barry Bonds, it was something negative. And again, and Bobby has a point. It wasn't like Barry was the only one taking the juice.
Steroids, right.
There was many guys, pitchers included, let's not forget Roger Clemens, who were taking this stuff. And that's the problem I have sometimes with MLB. You act like you didn't know this was going on, and you're outraged at the fact that this happened, but yet you knew it was going on.
Yep.
And everybody was doing it at that time. That's the steroid era. That's what they call it, right?
Yes.
The steroid era. So don't try to come to me now and be like, well, no, I'm not. No, you let it happen, and it happened. Barry hit 70 home runs, 760. Like he broke Hank Aaron's record.
Yep.
What are you going to do? You can't take the home runs back. He hit them. Like, however you want to look at it, like, the fact is he hit them. And so those are the records, and that's what stands. Yes, we should honor Aaron Judge and give him his props for what he did. But at the same time, you just had to know that Barry Bonds was going to come up. Yes. And that's going to get people talking all over again. And so now you have this whole thing with, oh, but he was juiced. Oh, but he did that. Oh, but he did this. Well, what are you going to do? It happened. Agree. The record counts. He hit him. Because to me, here's the thing, too. And I'll try to wrap this up. I don't want to take too much.
Take your time.
It still takes a lot of talent to hit a baseball. Okay? I don't know. I mean, I know everybody's like, oh, that seems easy. I could do it. I played Little League for 7 seasons. And there were times I had trouble hitting the ball because you have to be able to see the ball to hit it. Yep. Okay, hand-eye coordination is key with trying to hit a baseball. So here's a man, and again, Barry was a great baseball player. Let's not forget that. The juice thing notwithstanding, and whether you thought he was a nice guy or not, that doesn't really matter. Barry could play baseball. Yes, at the end he was more of a designated hitter, or like he played the outfield, whatever, but Barry was what he was, okay? And whether you liked him or not, you had to respect the game that he had. Yep. I mean, right? Like, look at the strike year in '94. Everybody left baseball. People were disgusted. These guys are greedy, yada, yada, yada. And what brought them back to baseball? Two big, giant dudes, one playing on the north side of Chicago, and the other one playing in St. Louis, chasing 70 home runs themselves. Exactly. Mm-hmm. And everybody was so excited that whole year with these guys racing, and they're hugging every time they play each other, and they're each trying to one up each other with home runs in the same game and all that stuff. And that's what brought it back. That's the thing too. Baseball fans, you can't have it both ways, guys. You really can't. You're a baseball fan, you have to love the game. Whether you think it's juiced, not juiced, whether you think the ball's wound tighter or not wound tighter, whatever you think, baseball is a game that I've always loved personally. And I take the good with the bad when it comes to baseball. Because as a fan, you have to. Just like with any other sport. Everything is not going to be great. Okay? It's just not. Things are going to go wrong. Things are going to happen. You're not going to like this. You're not going to like that. Whatever the deal is. But the fact remains, I'm a baseball fan, and I always will be. So watching Aaron Judge do what he did, I was excited. Watching Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire live doing that, it was great for baseball. Okay? Whether it was juiced or not. It brought people back to baseball. And when Barry was hitting his, all eyes were on him. Like you said, ESPN always did cut-ins. Barry's going for this. Barry's going for that, right? Same with Judge. Will he hit 62? Will he not hit 62? At Sports Center, they cut it if the Yankees were playing. It's a story, guys. It is what it is. It's what makes baseball what it is. And I just think that, you have to take the good with the bad with baseball and just enjoy it. It's a game. In the grand scheme of things, it's a game. And we all have our thing, that's really all I have to say. Like I said, I don't want to overextend what I'm trying to say, but just enjoy it. Give Judge's props. They're going to mention Bonds, fine. But at the same time, Judge now has the American League record for home runs. the Yankees are probably going to go far in the playoffs, if not, playing the World Series and possibly win it. So enjoy that. Enjoy Aaron Judge. Barry Bonds is what he is.
Yep. Judge doing it 61 years after Maris hitting 62 in the game, made that record 99-61. The baseball gods are base.
That's what they tell you. Don't mess with the gods, right? The gods are always there, aren't they? The baseball gods are, don't mess with them.
I mean, you hit it right on the head with everything. Like, I didn't see Barry Bonds when he was in Pittsburgh. I saw him when he was in San Francisco.
Correct, right.
Like, unfortunately, like one thing like I've noticed is that we have a hard time letting go of the past. Like, whatever, like whether he took something or not, we have to move on from that. Major League Baseball benefited off of, like you said. And again, let's not forget there were seasons the year they went on strike that were completely taken away. Frank Thomas, for example, should have been MVP that year. I think Tony Gwynn was on pace.
Tony, they were on fire that year. Exactly.
On pace I think the Padres were on pace to win how many games. I mean, so many things were like taken away from certain individuals.
Like my ability to see the White Sox play the Yankees at Yankee Stadium in '94. I actually was in New York I was in New York in '94. I moved there in August of '94. That we can get into that story some other time as to why I moved there. But the Sox were scheduled to play the Yankees in September at Yankee Stadium, and I had thought about going, and then the strike happened, and I wasn't able. I was robbed of the opportunity, and of course, never got the opportunity to go to the actual Yankee Stadium, the old one, because now there's a new one. And I was kind of disappointed by that I was a little mad at baseball because I missed my opportunity to see the Sox play the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, which for me would have been a great thing. But so I mean, there's things like that. The strike really did put a damper on baseball for a few years until, again, the home run ball came back and everybody was excited.
But I think it's also to kind of give guys like Mike Piazza, Ken Griffey Jr., Frank Thomas, and others, their flowers too. Like, Ken Griffey, in Seattle, Mike Piazza when he was with the Dodgers, then went to the Mets. Frank Thomas went to the White Sox. Like,
the
Atlanta Braves with Maddox, Glavine, Smoltz.
One of the best pitching staffs ever, my friend.
Yes.
And only one World Series for all that. Playoffs every year. Only got one ring out of that.
I have a conspiracy theory on that.
Oh, do you now? What? We'll have to talk about that one day, Nate.
Because with a pitching staff like that, they should have at least 3 championships. But
they definitely should have. But again, we could talk about that another time.
Yeah. So I mean, I agree. The record is 73. We have to respect that. You can't take that away from them. Just like, for example, with Pete Rose being in the Hall of Fame. Like, I understand with like the betting. It was illegal to do, but at the end of the day, he's the hit king. You need to give him his respect.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And my thing with that is too. And again, real quick, I don't want to take all night.
Take your time, Nick.
But they sit there and say, okay, Pete Rose is never going to get in the Hall of Fame. Barry doesn't get voted in. Sosa's not voted in. McGuire's not voted in.
Alex Rodriguez.
You're mad at all the right. Well, A-Rod, right. You're mad at all these guys, right? Because of the steroid thing. But again, in their era, everybody, a lot of people, okay, I shouldn't say everybody. I don't want to generalize that way. But it was very well known. And this is why everybody hated Canseco's book, because he told on all of them.
Yes, he sure did.
Jose was ostracized right away because he told dirty secrets. Yep. And whether you believe Jose or not,
that's a code.
Matter. Right. He broke it. He did. Like I said, what happens in the locker room should stay in the locker room, right? That's one of those things. But Jose said, I'm going to blow the roof off this.
I read the book.
And that's the thing.
I'm amazed at some of the things.
I did not, but you read, yeah.
But some of the things that were said in that book, I still can't. Yeah. I just can't fathom that. It was to me. It was more for money. You know what?
Okay.
Someone writes a book. That's something that's going to be controversial. People are going to be like, "Oh
yeah,
really?" Like that's what it came across to me.
No, I get that, but if you read between the lines, there's some truth to what Jose said, I believe.
Right.
And I don't think anybody would be surprised if some of the things he said in that book were proven to be true.
Right.
But again, it's not something you should talk about, and that's why everybody got mad.
Yeah.
But that's my point. It's like you're not going to vote these guys in, but you're going to keep their records up there and have other players try to attain those records. Does that make sense to anyone?
Nope.
Honestly. Again, whether you agree or not, whether you think, Sosa and McGuire are a-holes or whatever, the fact of the matter is they resurrected baseball at a time when baseball desperately needed them.
Yep.
And these guys hit over 600 home runs each.
That is
just
crazy.
I mean, regardless of if they're juicing or not, that's an accomplishment.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, again, because you still have to hit the ball. There's coordination involved. You could say, well, that guy's served. No, people were not serving it up to them. Maybe towards the end a little bit, maybe. But again, nobody was personally going, I want Sammy to get the record. I'm just going to throw him some meatballs so he can hit him over. But, these guys legit. And again, I remember Sammy when he played on the White Sox. He was a skinny right fielder.
Oh, my God.
He was like Barry Bonds. He was like Barry Bonds, like literally. They were almost identical in size both times. At the beginning of the career and at the end of their career, they looked like each other.
Well,
because Sosa ballooned up.
Sammy Sosa in an Oriole uniform, and I don't want to talk about that.
Okay, well, we don't have to. He's also been 3 different shades, but that's another story all entirely. But my point is, exactly, you look like a Neapolitan ice cream at one point. I'm telling you, he was pink, white, and he was dark white and then pink. I don't know what happened to Sammy. But anyways, the point is that, you're going to keep these guys' records, but yet you're going to admit them from the Hall of Fame. Does that make any sense to anyone, honestly?
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of what they may have done, their transgressions, whatever you feel about it. I mean, come on.
I agree.
It's ridiculous to me in terms of the way baseball treats it. Like they don't, like it's the black, not I mean black like that, but I mean like the stepchild of, it's the black mark on baseball. Oh, these guys are, they did this. Well, no, man, like ridiculous. It is ridiculous. I digress.
I'm just really quick before we move into that subject. I'm still mad because that year we got him. It was the 2005 season. Sammy Sosa.
Okay.
We traded him for Jerry Harrison Jr. and Mike something, and Mike Tenon. I think was his name.
Okay. Mike Fontenot.
Fontenot. That's what it is. And he's playing. Rafael Palmeiro's on that squad.
Yeah.
I'm not letting that go. I'm sorry, I can't.
Okay, no, that's fine.
That was painful.
I mean, there was some Palmeiro drama with the Cubs, but we could talk about that another time too.
Right.
So why he was traded.
Yeah. We're gonna move to the next subject. Albert Pujols hit 700 over 700. Well, in the career 702. Let me correct.
702, right?
Career home runs. How will you remember Albert Pujols?
Well, I've had the opportunity, having been an employee at Wrigley Field on 2 separate occasions. I've been seeing Albert Pujols since 2001 when he debuted. Okay, I've seen him a couple times a year. And I'll always have great memories of Albert in that sense. And I'll tell you why, even though he's a Card, again, I know people say, for those who don't understand, White Sox, I am a White Sox fan. I don't hate the Cubs. Let's just clear that up. I do work at Wrigley Field in the summertime. It's my part-time job. I love it. I love being at the ballpark. So I've seen Albert Pujols a ton since 2001, okay? This is a guy, and again, he's a big guy. People have whispered over the years, oh, is he on the juice? Is he the... I don't believe it. I'll be honest. I think Albert is just one of those guys who played the game right. The guy always the guy's a monster at the plate, big first baseman. The guy had a great career. Okay. He's had 702 home runs. You don't, hard to find anybody who says a bad word about Albert, in anything, in the press and his teammates. Great locker room guy. Everybody loves him, all that stuff. Obviously spent many years with the Cardinals and went to the Angels, spent 10, 11 years there. And so, this guy, everybody loves Albert Pujols. So I don't know how you can't. I'll put it that way. I don't know how you can't. This guy did everything right. He just played the game hard, nose down, all the cliches you can think of. Albert was just that guy. And I think
I agree.
To retire, is great. He's going to retire with 702 home runs. His career is somewhere to 70, 80 hitter, whatever it is. So I mean,
299 now, I think it is.
Is it really close to 300? Okay,
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if he was that close to 300, but I knew he was up there. And it's like, yeah, all-star multiple times, home run champ. Like, yeah. Now this is a great career. Let's put it this way: this is what separates Albert from a bunch of guys. He had a great career.
Yep.
And it spanned 20 years? 2001 was his debut. So 21 years in the majors. So 21 years in the majors. I mean, you just got to tip your hat to the guy. There's nothing else you can say. Like, this guy, just a great ball player. Like, that's, so yeah, I mean, hats off to Albert. Enjoy retirement. You're only 40-something years old, early 40s. So enjoy life, my friend. Bon voyage, whatever you do. But yeah, love Albert Pujols. Always have. As a matter of fact, he was on the cover of my favorite PlayStation 2 game. Because he was on MVP baseball? 2003. 2003. It was I played that game to death. It's it had scratches on it and everything. I'd still try to play it. Best game for PlayStation 2 to me was MVP baseball. Albert Pujols was on the cover.
I didn't have MVP baseball, but I had All-Star Baseball 2002, 3, and 4. I hated the Cardinals on those games. I mean, the offense was just crazy. JD Drew, Jim Edmonds.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's why they won in 2004 finally.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, when you look at that team, and of course, hey, who was their manager? Tony La Russa. Well, there you go.
Yep.
Break the Cardinal curse, baby. That was a great team. But yeah.
Yes. How I will remember Albert Pujols. I think just a guy who just kept his head down, just was ready to work every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, he just showed it when he from his time in St. Louis, and he went to Anaheim. Even though this is just how I feel. I think he should have stayed in St. Louis. I feel like the Anaheim Angels wasted his career a little bit, in my opinion.
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
I mean, my fondest memory is when he hit the 3 home runs against the Texas Rangers in the playoffs. That's my fondest memory. But I think also too, really just getting to see him get to 700. I think that's even better. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like it's just weird. Like when guys would hit like him for example, David Ortiz, Todd Helton, like when they've played for a franchise as long as like they have, it's just weird you won't see them on the team next year. And,
right, I got you.
Albert Pujols is definitely a first ballot Hall of Famer in my opinion.
I agree with that statement. Yes,
I think he's going to go down as one of the best Cardinal greats. He's going to be right
easily
there with Ozzie Smith.
Sure.
So many other Cardinal greats. Stan the Man.
Stan Musial, yeah. Stan Man.
So there's definitely a lot he's done for the Cardinals. But I'm just glad he's actually got to be a part of this team, because I still think this team is actually surprising people. Led by the MVP for the NL, whether it's an MVP, Paul Goldschmidt.
Goldschmidt, yes.
And I'm happy for Albert, and I can't wait to see him in 5 years at Cooperstown. I can't wait. So
it should be a good time.
It's weird because I know he surpassed Babe Ruth in RBIs, but I feel like it's like it was. I feel like this was a close. This was an ending chapter for him.
Yeah.
Finish your career where you started in 700.
Yes. It's good. It's good that he went back to St. Louis for that. I agree with that for that last year. I think that's great.
But he going to the Angels, that was disgusting.
I mean, they gave him a lot of money, Nate.
They gave him a lot of money, but this is not an indictment on him. But they only made
it's a business, brother. Yeah, well, again, it's the team around him too. Albert couldn't do it himself. He's one of 9. I mean, you gotta. Sometimes you just gotta, put a team together.
I'm just saying, I think they just wasted his talents. So
yeah, no, I'm with you on that. I know what you're saying.
And then they didn't want to pay him the $30 million this year. Oh god.
Yes.
But yeah, shout out.
Well, when you got Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani on your team, I guess
anything is possible.
Money, you don't, right? You don't, yeah, you know.
Exactly. Exactly. We're going to really quick transition. Mr. Nicholas Rosario is a Chicago White Sox fan, and painfully,
I am.
The White Sox did not make the playoffs this year. So I'm going to give Mr. Nick Rosario the smoke. But
thanks.
the Chicago White Sox finished. Hold on, we pull up the record really quick.
81 and 81, I believe. Yes. Finished 500.
500 on the year.
What was that? What the hell was that? I'm sorry the H words and the D words aren't appropriate over the airways, but it's going to be today. I don't know how much more of this I can take. How in God's name?
Nick,
I kind of felt like that, Stephen A. That kind of sums up how I felt about the White Sox this year. Sure. I'm telling you.
So just talk about the season, what went right, what went wrong, what do you hope to see in the offseason changed?
Well, there were some things I liked. I mean, Dylan Cease came on this year that was really, we had hoped Dylan would be a great arm for us, and he was this year. He was the ace of the staff, no doubt. It's funny because when you looked at this team at the beginning of the year, a lot of people, even pundit, there was a couple of people who predicted the Sox to get to the World Series, okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm very optimistic that at least we'll get past the first round of the playoffs this year. We'll make a run, we'll make some noise. We were returning a lot of our starters. Again, Dylan Cease was going to start for us. We had Kopech, Giolito, Lance Lynn. I thought, yeah, we're ready to roll. We got our pitching staff in order, and injuries happen. Some bad managerial thing. Here's the thing. Let me just clear this up right away. Tony La Russa was hired as the manager last year, right? And everybody was like, and believe me, I was not for it. And not because I don't admire Tony or appreciate what he did as a manager in Major League Baseball. I just didn't think he was the right fit for this team. And there were times where countless times actually, and again, being the armchair coach, that you just went, Tony, what are you doing? There was a time where he was like putting out a different lineup every day in terms of the order, in terms of guys playing positions. And you're like, there's no continuity here. You're just throwing stuff out there and hoping it sticks. And then guys are getting injured. So now you got to fill holes. And like I said, there's like a different lineup every day. You're just like, what are you doing? Like, this is not working. And then unfortunately, you never want anyone to have issues, but obviously Tony had a heart issue. He had to step down. And so now he's done with baseball. Tony is retiring. So now this is the other thing. Now you have to find a new manager, right? Off-season plan number one, we got to find a manager. Now, in my opinion, and I don't know that Reinsdorf will do this, but I would hope Miguel Cairo would get the job. I think he did an admirable job when Tony left. And Miguel knows the team. He's been in the locker room a few years, knows the players, give the guy the opportunity to get the job. Now, again, if you want my personal opinion, I want Reinsdorf to sell the team because he just drives me absolutely nuts with the stuff that he does on any given year or whatever. Okay? I think we need some new blood. And again, I know it's his team. He's happy. He's a guy who's got 6 basketball championships, a World Series with the White Sox. What else does he need, right? He's content. Why not just, do your best to, get second place every year? Because that seems what he does. He does just enough to give everybody hope, make it seem like the team is really moving in that right direction. And then he does something to just pull the damn rug out from under you. And you sit there and you just shake your head and go, another disappointing year for the White Sox, ladies and gentlemen. And this year really was no different. I mean, it really wasn't. I had such high hopes going into the season. I was telling everybody who would listen that I really thought the White Sox were going to make a push this year. I'd really hoped, that they would have. And again, injuries are a part of the game. Next man up. You got to be able to. It just didn't happen. You would finish 500. I mean, wait to think about this. After the All-Star break, when we started playing again, the Sox were in contention still. We were in contention pretty much all the way till we got swept by Cleveland in that one series at home within the last 2 weeks of the season. Do you know we finished 11 games out of first? Cleveland won the division by 11 games. Is that, seriously? Come on, man. That is just sad. That is extremely sad on many levels. But again, pitching fell apart. Giolito was not the ace he was last year. Lopez, the
I had him on
bullpen was
fantasy
supposed to be.
baseball. He definitely disappointed.
Oh, no, Giolito disappointed big time. The bullpen, was great at times, but at other times, they just looked like they were just tossing it up out there, man, and people were just knocking them all over the place. And, that's something you got to fix. Everybody needs a strong bullpen. You need a strong staff. Yohan Moncada was very disappointing for me this year. He was one of the guys that glaringly stood out in terms of just expecting a lot from him. And you're like, this is your corner, this is your third baseman, man. This guy's your cornerstone on your defense and that sort of thing. And he just had a disappointing year, man. Tim Anderson got hurt again. So we picked up, later in the season, we picked up Elvis Andrus, who actually did a really good job in Tim Anderson's absence, to be very honest with you. He actually had a pretty good end of the year for us. But yeah, we just couldn't get it together, man. It was either this or that. The pitching was bad. The offense didn't do anything. And so as a result, man, that's what you do. You finish 500, 81 and 81. Now, as far as the offseason plan, like I said, one, we got to find a manager. I think that's pretty important. One, we need some more starting pitching now because I think, this is my opinion, Giolito, I think, is back, but you don't know what Giolito you're going to get. You hope Dylan Cease capitalizes on what he did this year, comes back. Kopech, had some trouble. You hope that he rebounds. Lance Lynn, I'm not sure what you're going to do there. But, yeah, I think we need to pick up a pitcher or two, make sure that bullpen is solid. And, another left-handed – see, that's the thing, too. Left-handed bat. We didn't have a real left-handed power hitter on our team in terms of to come off the bench and provide us with a spark. Yeah, but Sheets didn't play every day, man. Like, they would spot him.
Anthony Santon there for Gavin Sheets.
Yeah, well, you might, you know what? Hey, you want a GM? We could do that. But I'm just telling you, man. We needed to pick some, honestly. We needed some more left-handed power, and we didn't pick it up. Like Schwarber was available. Mm-hmm. Schwarber had, 30-something home runs for the Phillies this year?
Yep.
If I'm not mistaken. Almost 40?
Cheat code.
Well, I'm just saying, though, bro. Do you tell me Schwarber couldn't have done any better in Comiskey Park than what he did in Philadelphia?
He would have tore the ball off of Comiskey Park without a shadow of a doubt. I agree with that.
Exactly. And did we go get him? No, we did not. Why? Probably because he would have cost a little bit of money, and Reinsdorf wasn't willing to spend that money.
What about Jose?
I don't know. Well, that guy's the MVP of the team. I really hope he comes back next year, to be very honest with you, because here's a guy who's solid. If nothing else, he's a locker room leader. I mean, the guy is solid all the way around. He hits for average. He always has a good average, 280, 290. He hits 30-some home runs a year, 100 RBIs. What else do you want from the guy? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, he's a rock on our team. He really is. And I really hope Jose comes back next year. He's getting older. He's been in, 10 years now or so, 10, 11 years in the league.
Something like that.
He's our elder statesman. Yeah, and it just, I really hope he comes back. I love Jose Abreu. He's in that mold of White Sox first baseman that we've been very lucky the last, 30 years. Frank Thomas, Paul Konerko, Jose Abreu. Great first baseman in the White Sox organization the last 30 years. Definitely can't argue with that. But again, one title to show for it, my friend. One title to show for it. So what can you do? No. 2005 will live on forever in my heart.
I definitely agree with you. That was a good team. Now, I wanted to ask you this question a while ago. Now, during this season, you guys played the Yankees. And
yes.
There was something between Tim Anderson and, unfortunately, Josh Donaldson that was said.
Which
led to Josh Donaldson being suspended for one game.
Yes.
What as you following the White Sox, what was your take on that?
Here's the thing. Tim is a fiery guy, okay? And obviously there was some stuff from the year before with Donaldson. But see, here's the thing too. Donaldson had a reputation for kind of being one of those guys who rubbed teammates the wrong way, it appeared. Wherever he went, there seemed to always be a problem with Josh. And so I don't remember exactly what it was, but I know that the year before that him and Donaldson had gotten into it about something. They were jawing at each other, I think, at second base about something. And somehow that carried into the next year. Again, I don't know why. I don't know exactly what was said, obviously. But yeah, I don't know, I know sometimes boys will be boys, but it seemed like I would really like to know because it seemed like it was a very serious thing. Like I said, Donaldson gets a 1-game suspension for it. So again, I don't know if, Tim maybe should have gotten the same thing or whatever he said, they said to each other, whatever the thing was, they were drawn back and forth. I just chalk that up to, again, there's obviously something there. They rubbed each other the wrong way. Like, not everybody's going to get along in baseball, that's for sure. You got different personalities, you got this and that, and obviously Tim just wasn't having it with Donaldson, and Donaldson obviously wasn't going to back down from anything Tim had to say or whatever. And so there you go. And so, this is what ends up happening. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know exactly what it was, but nonetheless, sometimes in baseball that just happens.
You mentioned.
What can you do?
I agree. You mentioned. I want to go back to I just wanted to ask that question, but back to
sure.
the manager perspective. Now, Tony La Russa, for those who give context, had to get a pacemaker. He's been having some health issues for the past few years, and August 30th was his last game, I believe, as manager, and he stepped down. When you look at when Miguel Kairos took over, if Miguel Cairo is not the guy, who else do you see the White Sox could go after as manager? Because I like Miguel Cairo. I think he should be a manager.
Yeah, that's a very good question, honestly, because with Reinsdorf, I never know. And I've heard a few names like Girardi, and I'm going, he's got that nice cushy gig with the Marquee Network. I don't think Joe wants to come to the South Side and deal with Reinsdorf, right? Nor does, and again, again, not name dropping, but obviously with working at Wrigley Field, I've met a lot of these guys, and Girardi was a player back then when I started at Wrigley. So I've actually met Joe Girardi as well. Seems like a very nice guy, blah, 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 blah. But, went on to the Yankees, of course, as a manager and all that. We all know that. But I don't think Girardi would be a right fit anyways. I mean, when you think, like, who else is out there in the sense of, like, who needs a job? Like, I thought we should have got A.J. Hinch myself because he was available at the time we hired Tony. And again, I mean, yeah, okay, Houston cheating scandal, yada, yada, yada. But really, did you punish the Astros?
I wouldn't have been opposed to seeing that, no.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, A.J. Hinch would have, I thought at the time, would have been someone, no offense to Tony. But, I mean, I've heard Joe Maddon's name, Joe Girardi. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, these are not guys who are not the right fit here, man. And here's the reason I think, too, that I want Miguel Cairo.
Okay.
Because I always, in his press conferences after games, he at least was straightforward about a lot of things. Mm-hmm. This is what we have to do. I have to do a better job of this. I have to make sure the guys are ready. I have to, that's what you want to hear from a coach. You got to take some responsibility. Tony didn't always do that. Tony's press conference, I didn't know that this, or I forgot about that rule, or blah, 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 whatever it was, and it's like, yeah, Miguel, I just think Miguel deserves a shot. I'll put it that way. And like I said, whether Reinsdorf does that or not, I don't know. If I were a betting man, I would say he doesn't give Miguel the job. But again, who does he offer the job to? That I'm not 100% sure of. With Reinsdorf, anything is possible. Again, he pulled Tony La Russa out of nowhere to coach the White Sox. And let's not forget that. Yes, we have Rick Hahn and Kenny Williams is there, but don't fool yourselves, boys and girls. It's Jerry Reinsdorf's team. And whatever Jerry says or whatever Jerry wants is what happens, which is how Tony La Russa ended up in the manager's seat for the White Sox. So that's why I say I don't really know what Jerry's thinking. I don't know what's in that man's head, but I really hope somehow somebody talks him into obtaining Miguel Cairo and giving him a shot at, at managing the White Sox. That's my personal opinion.
I agree with that.
Again,
And,
after this year, yeah, I don't
go
know.
ahead.
After this year, somebody, we'll see if somebody else is out of a job. The major leagues, there's always turnaround. There's turnover all the time.
Yep.
Obviously you got 12 teams in the playoffs, so I don't think any of those coaches will be available. So you look to the other 17 who didn't make the playoffs, and you see what their situation is, and see if somebody's on the hot seat or something, and then you go from there. But as of right now, I really don't know. Because the guys who are out of baseball, I feel like they're out of baseball for a reason. And so maybe you don't want to go that route. You know what I mean? Like a Girardi, like a Joe Madden, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Let's not go to that well, shall we? Let's try to find something new and exciting here. Let's get somebody in here who's going to, let's get somebody in here who's going to spark this team, who's going to get in their behinds, who's going to push some of these younger guys. Because this still, this is not an old team by any means.
Nope.
Jimenez, Luis Robert, Lurie Garcia, Gavin Sheets, as you mentioned earlier. Yep. These guys are all still under 30.
And they're prime.
These guys are mid-20s. Yeah, this is the prime of their careers. This is the time to strike while the iron is hot. Yes, Abreu was a little older, but you need that. You need that guidance. You need that leadership. And that's what Jose brings. And he's still producing at a high level. So why not bring the guy back? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, yeah, we got to get on the ball here. We got to find us a manager. And I hope that they do the right thing and give Miguel Cairo the job. We'll see.
I agree. Now, what's interesting, Nick, is this is the second team you want them the Bears and the White Sox.
Oh, don't even, bro. Chicago sports, man, they kill me. Like, it's tough being a Chicago sports fan these days, my friend. Trust me. It's not great. Like, I know that. I'm trying to deal with it. I'm trying, I have to live my life, so I can't let it affect me like that. But, man, it's really tough being a Chicago fan these days. We take a lot of stuff from everybody else.
But hold on for a second. I mean, the Chicago Bulls, they're going to come back healthy this year. The Chicago
yes, they
Sky.
are. They're a shining light. They're a shining light. The Sky, obviously, yes. They didn't quite get as far as last year, but they still had a great season. They played tough. They played hard. Again, I appreciate that. I do. But man, my two loves are baseball and football, Nate.
Football, right?
Like, it's hard being a Chicago fan when your football team and your baseball team just aren't cutting it, man. It's just terrible.
Well,
now again,
I know
basketball season is upon us. Hockey season is upon us. The Hawks are still a young team, and I think they're about 2-3 years away from doing anything. But it's always good to see that at least they're moving in a direction. The Bulls, same thing. I think the Bulls actually. Here we go, hot take for this year, right? But no, I think the Bulls have the potential to make the playoffs and actually make a little noise in the Eastern Conference. Again, I'm not saying they're going to win it and go on to the, NBA Finals, but I think if this team stays healthy and stays together and plays, I think we have the potential to make the playoffs and cause a little noise. That's all I'm going to say about that. Guaranteed. Hey, you brought RuPaul back. I love it. Fantastic. I love that clip. That's my favorite clip. RuPaul, it's great. I know.
Really quick. I'm going to transition to my team, the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you know what? You guys actually had a pretty good year this year, considering what a lot of people thought you were going to have.
Exactly. A lot of people wrote us off, especially at the end of May. I believe we were 21-30. And it was we called up Adley Rutschman. We didn't have John Means. He got hurt early. Grayson Rodriguez got hurt. So he had to be out for the season. And, I'm sitting here like, okay, well, we tried. And then, let's just get ready for next year. And then it just seeing a lot of things, Cedric Mullins, didn't really come back to the year he had last year, the 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases, but he still produced. Cole Sulser got traded. Lot of interesting moves, and I'm not going to go as far as saying this Oriole team reminds me of the year we won the wild card with Mark Reynolds and Joe Saunders and those guys, but I'm just proud of the resiliency that they showed. There are some things the Baltimore Orioles do need to fix. I think they need a couple. They need a couple starters. they need to work on the bullpen a little bit more. I think the bullpen needs some fixing, and they definitely need a couple pitchers. As much as I think Jordan Lyles, I like to see him back here for another year. He was definitely technically our de facto number one guy, innings eater. But when it came down to others, you want to get guys deeper into innings, and that's something we just really struggled on. I thought trading Trey Mancini, it still kind of stings. But that's what happens when you're part of a rebuild. Somebody that has been with us for quite some time. Even the best player on your club may have to go for the greater good of the team. And I definitely think this year is a starting point for what we're ready to compete for 2023. Michael Elias knows that. And it's just, I'm really proud of the fact that we still stayed the course, even through the midst of the drama with the Angelos family, particularly the sons, younger brother, older brother, battling over whose team it is. No, he wants to sell the team. Then Miss Angelos kind of gets involved. It's just been a mess. I really do hope Peter Angelos is doing well, is doing okay. I know past few years he has been doing well health-wise, but he had the fall a couple years ago. Major League Baseball stepped in and said, someone got to take over the team. So I'm really proud of these guys. Brandon Hyde, I feel bad for him because it felt like he was just a sacrificed lamb. And I'm glad that he's been given the opportunity to prove that he deserves to be the manager for this team. But the sky's the limit for this team. I do see some things happening. I could see some guys be traded, but I think we all know I think I kind of see the plan. I see the vision for the offseason. It's going to be a good one. And that payroll will finally be up there amongst the great teams. And that's the plan.
Well, no, and the thing is too, it's tough because you guys play in a really tough division when you think about it. I mean, you got to play New York. You got to play Boston, Tampa Bay. Who else is in your division there? That's the East. That's Toronto. I mean, they got 3 teams in the playoffs this year, that East division. So again, I give you guys credit. Like I said, you had a pretty good year from where you started. You managed, you're in that wild, you were kind of in that wild card race where they would include Baltimore like in the wild card standings. Like you'd see them and you go, hey, the Orioles might have a shot. But again, very tough in the American League this year with the way a lot of the teams played. But again, you finished the game better than the White Sox, who were predicted to, like I said, be in the World Series this year by some people. So I think that's a win, my friend, for young, because like you said, the last time I can remember, and again, not trying to pour salt on your wound here, my friend, but the last time I remember Baltimore being really relevant was in the 80s, early 80s. We played Baltimore in 83, in the American League Champion Series, whatever. Back then it was just, a few teams that made the playoffs, but you guys beat us 3-1 to move on. It was like, oh, great, we lost to Baltimore. Like, come on. But that's that's one of the last times I really remember Baltimore like being a serious contender. And like, it's been a lot of years. And I know, like I said, you made the wild card. You guys have made the playoffs here and there, but it's been a tough go for Oriole fans. You got that nice, beautiful stadium in Camden Yards, it's nice. What are you going to do?
For me,
and again, you've been a fan all your life, right?
Yeah. I mean, for me, like the last true taste of success, I believe, was the 97 season, the year turning to rest, that Jeffrey Myers catch. That was fan interference. I don't care what anyone's got to say. I'm not letting that go. Right. I'm sorry. I can't.
Nope. Fair enough.
And then after that, I saw this team really struggle. I mean, I saw like the team at its lowest. I mean, we had good players like Jeff.
Didn't you lose 100 games one year?
Yeah, we did. We lost 100 like for 2 straight years. 100. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, it's like, what's going on in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the thing is with that, we traded guys a year too late. Manny Machado, Zach Brady, we should have traded them a year before. And unfortunately, when it's interesting looking at that trade now. The only truly guy that really panned out in that trade was Dylan Tate. Everybody else,
did nothing,
trash.
Right?
Nothing. Because the trades that
Crazy.
Dan Duquette made for those guys.
They are trash. Horrible.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah. So
Good
I'm
old
glad to
Stephen A.
see.
Could always come.
I'm glad to see the Orioles in a good direction for sure.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, yeah. Absolutely.
Let's look at this playoff picture really quick.
Sure.
Before we get into the playoff picture, really quick, MVP.
I don't know. What do you think? I mean, here's the thing. I look at, again, people look at the obvious, when you look at candidates, you're like, well, this guy had a great year. This guy had a great year. This guy had a great year. Mm-hmm. But the sports writers vote for this stuff.
Yep.
Right? This is the MVP is like the sports writers vote for this.
Yes.
So, I mean, do you throw in an Aaron Judge for what he did in an MVP? I mean, did he do enough? Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, did he do enough outside of the 62 to go, yeah, that's warranted? So there, we'll put Aaron Judge in the MVP conversation. Again, I'm just throwing out names here, in the sense of, you look at Toronto and go, do you throw a Guerrero out there? Did he do enough for his team? Because, MVP stands for most valuable player.
Right.
And to me, that should count for something.
Yes.
If you're a guy on a team who is the most valuable player on your team, that's what that should be. That, to me, is what that award should be. And it hasn't always been that way, in my opinion. So that's why I say sometimes it's really hard to really handicap an MVP race and go, well, this guy, man, look what he's done for his team. This guy should be a candidate for that. But you're like, well, no, we're not looking at that. We're looking at individual stuff. A guy like Aaron, like you said, Aaron Judge hitting 62. I mean, the Yankees won 100 games, right?
Yes.
But look at the team the Yankees have. They were, they could win 100 games without Aaron Judge. Yes, 60 homers are great. But if you plug somebody else in there who only hit 30, 40 home runs, the Yankees could still win 100 games. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to take away from Aaron Judge. I'm just putting it in the context of what we're talking about here. But yes, obviously you could argue that Aaron Judge is the most valuable player on the Yankees. But again, what about other guys on other teams who have had just as good of years, maybe not as many home runs, but they were the MVP of their team. And who should, so that's all I'm saying. Like, with this stuff, I always kind of have a problem with trying to figure out who should really get the nod. But again, would I be upset if Aaron Judge got it? Probably not. Like, again, your team wins 100 games. You hit 62 home runs. I mean, you've got a good average. I don't think he made too many errors in the outfield this year. So, Aaron Judge, I don't know. I might go that route. Only, again, ask me whatever you like, sir.
When you talked about MVP, do you believe winning matters with MVP?
If I say no, will you hold it against me?
No, no, absolutely
I mean,
not. No.
I don't think it should be the. I don't think it should be one of the only things considered. Is my point, because I've known, like, again, it's most valuable player, and you could have a losing team, but this guy was the guy on his team that held it together, whatever. But my argument usually ends up, people go, well, no, that's not right. You got to be a winner. Well, why do you have to be a winner in that sense? Why does your team have to win 100 games for you to be an MVP? So I don't know. Again, it's always usually individual stats generally. People look at that, is average home runs, does he play the field well and doesn't make a lot of errors, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. Again, I'm not, like I said, I wouldn't be disappointed if Aaron Judge won. But I guess I would put him as the front runner given everything that happened and the way the Yankees finished this year.
Right.
Well, see, here's the thing with Shohei.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I apologize.
Oh, no, that's quite all right. I mean, but with Shohei, you're impressed in general with that guy.
Yes.
Here's a guy who pitches every fifth day, but pretty much hits all the time. Like, he's in the lineup almost daily, even when he's not pitching. So, is that guy the most valuable player on his team? I would think so.
Should be.
But it's an easy argument to make. Like, who else does that? Nobody else does that.
I agree.
It's like, but again, he might get consideration, but at the end of the day, people are going to go, well, he doesn't have the numbers for this, or he doesn't have the numbers for that. It's like, yeah, but name me one other guy who plays as often as he does and does what he does. I mean, nobody pitches every fifth day and hits every day. I don't know any, nobody else in the major leagues does that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that is an accomplishment in and of itself, for one, to be a pitcher and a hitter in the same, in the same team. So again, I'm always impressed with Ohtani, and that's why when the Angels come to Sox Park every year, I go. I just want to see Ohtani play. I hope he's pitching. I know I'll see him hit, but I always want to see Shohei play. That guy's phenomenal. I will always go see the Angels play at Comiskey Park for that reason alone. And that's, to me, that's why I say that's an MVP. That guy will make me actually buy a ticket and go to the stadium just so I could see him play. Aaron Judge doesn't necessarily do that for me. I can give or take Aaron Judge. I'm not going to go just see the Yankees play. But a guy like Shohei, he's an attraction. And you watch that guy play. That's what, so yeah, I'm with you. But again, I'm probably going to go with Aaron Judge just because of the way it happened, everything that happened. The Yankees are winning. They're favored to go to the World Series. I'd probably go with Aaron Judge.
I agree with you. And ladies and gentlemen, be tuned in. I'm actually going to, when the show's over, I'm going to touch base with Nick again. We're going to do an award show.
Okay. All right. We can do that.
I wrote down some names of each category, who's MVP, Rookie of the Year, Cy Young. But really, honestly, I agree with what you said, Nick. Aaron Judge should be MVP because he did more for his team. And I just think the year that he's had, I really personally think he and Shohei Ohtani should get consideration for. I think he should have co-MVP. It's just my opinion.
That wouldn't be a bad thing, right?
But I know realistically they're going to go for Aaron Judge. So,
Angels didn't win. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, Angels didn't win anything, so you go with who wins.
Exactly. We're going to go into the playoff picture. And I want to give a shout out to John Linney because he actually put out this playoff, his prediction of what the playoffs would look like. And I wanted to get your thoughts on this, Nick. So he actually thinks the Mets are going to win the World Series. He actually gave his explanation as well. And he said St. Louis would defeat Philadelphia, even though their bullpen struggled today.
They did. Philadelphia got one up on them. So, and
he also with Tampa Bay and Cleveland got the first one today. And
they beat Seattle. They beat the Rays.
Yep.
Now, here's where I differ with John, because I even asked John this when he showed this to me, because he asked my opinion, and I said, "Oh, no Seattle," and I kind of jokingly said that to him, like, "What? No Seattle?" And my thing was the bullpen, and I heard this stat today, and this amazed me. Major League Baseball is hitting 200 against that Seattle bullpen with Munoz and the other guy. Like, today, Castillo started for Seattle and pitched like 7 2/3 scoreless baseball. And then Munoz came in and finished the game. That pitching for Seattle, if that holds up, look out, my friend. Because that pitching is what wins in playoff time. Let's be honest. Everybody can hit the ball. Everybody does. But if you can pitch in the playoffs, you're going to go far. And I'm telling you, I know Seattle kind of snuck up on everybody this year, but they're for real, man. And they're here to play. And I'm telling you, if that pitching holds up, look out, because Seattle will go far. Now, again, I don't know that in a 7-game series they would beat the Yankees, but man, it would be fun to watch if they got that far. Now, personally, I could. Toronto impresses me just because of the sheer, where they came from. Toronto's and hasn't been relevant really in years, but you've built the team with Bichette and Guerrero and Springer and these guys, and they're playing good baseball.
Yep.
So you root for a team like Toronto. You're like, these kids are good. I like to watch them play. They're energetic. Yada yada yada. The whole thing, right? They got a catcher that looks like a fire hydrant. That kid Kirk, like a little chubby guy playing catcher, right? But the guy plays.
Kirk. Yep.
Yeah, he looks like a fire plug, right? Doesn't he? Like, look at the guy. He looks like he's about 280 at 5'7" and 280. But again, the kid goes out there and plays every day, man. He's a good catcher. Like, you like Toronto. I do think Seattle can win this series, though. And it was even before today's game, I said, man, Seattle pitches the way that they can, and that bullpen, man, look out for Seattle. But initially, when I saw the playoff bracket, I mean, obviously, Houston is number 1. New York is number 2. And I'm sorry, I have a thing for Dusty Baker. I like the guy. He doesn't win, unfortunately, when it comes to the big games. But I love Dusty Baker. Right, unfortunately, because I like Dusty Baker. Nice guy. And, very pleasant to be around. Yes, okay. Third time, yes, I met Dusty Baker. He was the manager in Chicago for a few years. So, yes, I've met Dusty Baker. I'll just clear that out of the way now. Always a nice guy. Always said hello. Oh, yeah. People are going to be like, would you stop name dropping, Nick? I'm sorry. I work at a ballpark.
No,
I see a lot of people.
I love this. I'm loving it.
No, yeah, but, so Dusty was always nice. Good guy. Choose the toothpick all the time. It's great. You got to love Dusty. But no, looking at this, though, like, seriously, Houston obviously is a powerhouse. But I personally don't want to see Houston win just because of the cheating scandal. Even though it may make me sound a little, I'm just saying, like, whatever. You guys won, you won. Nobody's taking away the championship from you. I get it. You won, you won. But, I don't need to see Houston again. They won it. That's fine.
Right.
But looking at this bracket, you're sitting to yourself, well, how do you bet against New York? Because they could be either Cleveland or Tampa Bay in a 7-game series. You know what I mean? And even with Houston, you're looking at Houston going, well, they get Seattle or Toronto. They're still looking, they could beat both of those teams in a 7-game series. Yep. So I hate to say it, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a Houston, New York, championship series with the Yankees moving on to the World Series. Again, not a particular Yankee fan, but I just think this year with the way they've rolled and you're riding the Aaron Judge wave, I do think the Yankees could make the World Series, and I would probably give them the best odds right now out of any of the other teams there.
Right.
But again, that's just today, as we're talking today. Now, on the National League side, I'm a little more intrigued because, the Mets won 100 games and are the 4th seed. Just because, and as a matter of fact, the Cubs swept them in that 3-game series, which probably hurt them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of those things you go, wow, you let the Cubs take you out like that? That's crazy. But I like New York. I do. But I'm going to be honest with you, man. Atlanta looked tough this year.
They did.
And Atlanta, I think, could beat Philly or St. Louis in that 7-game series. I think they could take out St. Louis or Philly, which would put them in, again, the championship. Does San Diego have enough to come back with you, Darvish? And
no, I'm not.
Oh, come on. What's up, boys? Right. No.
Well,
that's what I'm saying. Like, does San Diego have it? Yeah, thank you. Machado and the boys, Machado, who's the guy who Tatis got suspended? Sorry.
Tatis is out, for
Tatis,
CEA.
Yeah, Tatis is out. He got suspended. But yeah, Machado in there. So I think San Diego goes out, honestly. I think New York takes care of them. I think that's done. Now you got New York and LA possibly. You sit there and go, can New York take LA? I do think they can. I mean, I would love to see a Mets Braves championship series for the sheer fact of them battling out all year in that East division.
Yes.
Like I would love to see Atlanta and the Mets in that championship series. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'd love to see Atlanta move on. I really would. But that's where I'm having the trouble. Like, do I really get behind Atlanta and go, yeah, Atlanta makes the World Series to play the Yankees? But if we're talking today, that's my prediction, Nate. I'm going to go Braves Yankees. Since you're gonna put me on the spot, sir. No, but I'm gonna go Braves Yankees for the World Series this year, and that's right. I'll go with that. That's my prediction there for right now. Now, who wins that series? Not to root for the evil empire, but the Yankees are who they are for a reason, my friend. They spend the most money, they get the best players, and again, if everything holds up like it should, you would think the Yankees would come out on top. But again, I look for an entertaining series. I always want to, but yeah, I think we could see Braves Yankees. I could totally see that. And, the Yankees hoisting another banner, my friend. So,
yep.
For right now, as of today, that would be my prediction.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. I think I don't think today changed anything in terms of the games. I was just surprised to see the Cardinals just collapse the way they did. They don't finish games properly. That showed last year against the Dodgers. I thought they would have fixed that. I've been very vocal on the Padres. I don't have anything against them. I'm just not sold on them as a team. I just kind of feel like they have all the pieces. Really quick, Brandon Drury definitely should be considered comeback player of the year.
Guaranteed. Hey, if RuPaul says it, then it's got to be, my friend. That's right. No, but
I mean,
I guess, you know,
I remember the last.
I guess I can't argue with that. Like, I guess I don't have a real argument against that in that sense. So, I mean, I would probably go with you on that one. You know,
Because the really truly great season he had was when he was with the D-backs. He was just kind of this journeyman in the past few years, but I just really see he rejuvenated his career. I'm really happy to see him out there.
No, I hear again. Hard to argue with that. I get you.
I just think it's going to be the Mets, Dodgers, Braves, Cardinals, and the DLs. And I think it's going to be the Dodgers and the Braves and the NLCS. I just think the Dodgers are just. I think the Mets will steal one. If not, they'll steal two. I think the Mets will get two. But the Dodgers are the best team. I think other than the Braves, I think they've been the team in the NL. They're the team you got to beat. I mean, they won 109, 110 games this year. They have been. Yeah,
that's impressive, isn't it? That's what do you say?
They ain't take their foot off the gas.
No,
Tony Gosselin only lost a game. Freddie Freeman, he his first year with the Dodgers, he's panned out. He's played very well.
Well, see, that's the thing too. Leaving Atlanta and going there. My goodness. I mean, did the Dodgers really need another superstar on their team? Did they?
No.
I mean, you know what I mean? You're like, that's just sick. Like, that's just wrong on so many levels. But, that is what, again, when teams have money to spend, they do. Yep. I mean, this is the whole reason, you can get mad at LA. Like you said, these are the evil empires. You can get mad at the Yankees. You can get mad at the Dodgers. But they have the money to spend, and they go out and spend it. And they get the players that they feel they need to strengthen their team and make it better. I mean, the team was already good, but then you had Freddie Freeman, and you go, well, it's, to the rich go the spoils, right? Like, come on.
Right. But when I look at the Braves, though, like, they had just my concern was, how's that offense now going to look with Freddie Freeman? Like, I know Matt Olson is going to give you 30 home runs easily.
Yes.
And they haven't disappointed. I mean, like,
nope.
Like
I said, they battled New York all year, man, and look what ended up happening. You know what I mean?
But I'm just saying, when I look at the Mets, they're going to remember this. I think the Mets, they're going to. I think this might be wild, but I see the New York Mets sweeping the San Diego Padres.
Guaranteed. Okay, I will look for that, Nate. I will certainly be watching.
And I think also too, I think the Cardinals will not lose another game. I think they're going to beat Philly.
So you think they'll win 3 straight, huh?
Yes, I think. I think Tampa Bay will get 1. I think Cleveland will move on.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not.
I can see.
Unfortunately, I can see Cleveland moving on without too much issue in Tampa Bay. Right, I can see that. But then you run into the juggernaut that is the Yankees.
But I think with Seattle and Toronto, I can see that game. I can see it being a tie series. I can see that.
2-2 and then going to Game 5. Yeah.
Because I think it's going to come
again.
Down
you got 2 young teams here, like 2 young teams that are hungry, and they both have good players on both sides. Again, it's going to come down to the pitching, and if Seattle can pitch the way that they are, like I said, after today's game, you went, wow, that's pretty impressive. So again. If the pitching goes up for Seattle, man, look out. I mean, they got to, if they make it to the next round, you got to face Houston, which, again, we know Houston is strong. They have been the last 6-7 years. So,
Painfully.
But I like upstarts. I love upsets. I'm not going to lie.
Yep.
So, would I be happy if Houston got eliminated? Absolutely. But again, as I said, you're that good for a reason. You know what I mean? Your team is great. we all know this. You're the number 1 seed in the AL, for a reason. So,
Yep.
but I love playoff baseball. This is the best time of the year. It's fantastic. And I really hope. I just want to see some really good competitive games. Hopefully 1 or 2 upsets along the way, and I'll be happy.
Yep. So I mean, I see Cleveland and New York in the ALDS. I'm going to give Seattle the edge over Toronto against Houston in the ALDS.
Okay.
LA, New York, Atlanta, Chicago, St. Louis. I want to keep saying Chicago, Atlanta, and St. Louis, and then it's going to
Maybe
be
in a few years the
Atlanta,
Cubs will come back.
LA,
Who knows? And then the
Atlanta, New
Dodgers
York,
go, right?
Houston, and then the Yankees and the ALCS and LCS. And I think it's going to be the Houston Astros versus the Atlanta Braves in the World Series.
Guaranteed.
So you agree with Atlanta, but you take Houston over the Yankees. Okay, I can dig it.
I just think that my thing is, I think with Aaron Judge, I see Houston approaching him a little bit differently.
Sure,
they're gonna make Houston's gonna make those guys work for those at bats,
as you should.
And I mean,
or when there's nobody on, just walk him and go to the next guy.
Yep.
Why not?
I think it's just going to come down to I think who offensively for that series is going to show up, Houston or New York. That's going to be the key.
Yeah, no, it very well could be. You're very. I think that's a good point.
Yep.
And Altuve and the boys, we'll see what they got, right?
Yep.
See if they can hit that high-priced New York pitching they got there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. But before we get into that, we're going to close out with our final segment of the show.
Incoming message.
Final message. Nick, I do appreciate you taking the time this evening and just talking baseball. Appreciate you. Shout out to those that were in the comments earlier today. Much appreciated. Do you have any, final message, final word you would like to say?
I kind of mentioned this on Tuesday, and I guess maybe I'll just, for anybody who didn't hear it, I'll continue it here. I love music, and I think I've made that known for anybody who's paid attention throughout the kind of the Let's Talk Football group and you guys and everybody. I love music. I sing all the time. I'm always doing so, somebody says a line, I'll start singing a song that reminds me of that or whatever. And recently the music business, suffered a few losses in terms of artists. You had P&B Rock, who was murdered for his chain apparently while he was eating lunch, which again, that's another comment for another time on that, on that sort of thing. But, there's a young guy who loses his life for pretty much a stupid reason. But I know he was my nieces were huge fans of this guy. When he came to Chicago, they went and got their tickets and saw the guy live and got their pictures with him. Seemed like a good kid and, was willing to talk to everyone. So it's a shame to see that such a young man get gunned down, in the prime of his life, basically. Then, of course, kind of from my generation, we lost Coolio, 60 years old. For those of you, I mean, again, if you were alive in the mid 90s, Gangster's Paradise was probably one of the songs of the decade. 95, that song was played all the time everywhere. If you guys remember the Box video channel on TV, that video was played literally 40 times a day. Everybody knew what Gangster's Paradise was, and again, that was probably obviously that was his biggest hit, but Coolio was a guy who, was still around doing, reunion shows and all that stuff. And you'd see him and, 60 years old, he was still getting out there and, unfortunately he died of a heart attack. And then for you country music fans, we lost Loretta Lynn, 90 years old. Like this is, for those of you, Loretta, one of her biggest hits was a song called You're Not Woman Enough to Take My Man. And the reason I bring that up is, again, because I always laugh. If any of you've ever seen the movie Be Cool, you know that The Rock played a gay bodyguard in the movie, right? And so as one of the things in the film is he wants to get into show business. So he records a music video of him singing You're Not Woman Enough to Take My Man. And it's probably one of the funniest things you'll ever see in your life. So if you get a chance, rent Be Cool, stream Be Cool, and wait for The Rock to come on and do Loretta Lynn's "You Ain't Woman Enough to Take My Man." It's absolutely hilarious, and you'll laugh. But again, on a serious note, RIP to those three musical people. It's very sad, obviously, when anybody passes, but music is a part of our lives. Everybody loves music. Everybody listens to some form of music. Everybody listens, so to lose people who in any way have impacted your life in that way musically, to me, that's a big loss. Like when Prince died, Michael Jackson died, even though I didn't know those men personally, I grew up with them and they were big part of my everyday life musically. And so those things do affect you a little bit. And like I said, I'm sure there were plenty of Loretta Lynn fans out there, plenty of Coolio fans, plenty of fans of PNB Rock. So to all of you, I say, my condolences on your loss. And again, just it always is a good reminder that, appreciate every day, my friends, because you just never know. So that would be, I guess, my final message.
I second those thoughts. Just take each day one day at a time. Just be mindful of the things that whether you are a spiritual person, religious person or not, just the things
Right.
that have happened to you have impacted your life positively. What has been blessed upon you. I think sometimes as a society, as a global community, I think we miss that. And I think we have to remind ourselves of that daily. Just think of the good things that God has blessed us with. And it's not the I heard in many songs, it's not the finer things in life.
There you go.
It's wealth of abundance, allowing to be, just thanking God to see another day, and just trying to be a good person and what you can do to be better each day. And that would be my closing message as well. I think if we remind ourselves of that daily, I think we'll definitely see a lot of positive and more upbeat mentalities, and then we just had to be reminded of each other of that daily. So that's definitely my final message. Ladies and gentlemen, be tuned in for future episodes. I'm going to go ahead and record the Ravens and Commanders previews. I'm looking forward to those games, and Maryland football as well. And also,
hey, go Terrapins, right?
Yes, go Terps. And also to predict the NFL Week 5 scores. Also, really quick, even though this was strictly for baseball, we're at Week 5 in the NFL, and Nick, you said at the beginning before we went on, 205 injuries.
Guys on the injured reserve list. Yeah, on the injured reserve list. That's incredible. Guys are getting hurt left and right everywhere. It's crazy. I know. It's not good, my friend.
Jesus Christ.
Not good. I mean, with 30 was it 32 teams? That's like what, 5 or 6 guys from every team on the injured reserve list at least.
That's what it sounds like.
So, yeah, 5, 6, 7 guys, whatever. So, yeah, plenty of injuries in the NFL, and maybe that's why we see so much parity. I mean, look at how many 2-2 teams there are.
And it's and guys mediocre too.
Yeah, like I think isn't it the A? No, one of the divisions like the NFC West. Everybody's 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, outside of Denver, who just lost on Thursday, so now they're 2-3. But that's not. But they started. Everybody started the week in the NFC West at 2-2. I mean, sorry, not Denver. Denver's in the AFC West. See, I'm losing my mind here, Nate. But everybody in the NFC West is 2-2. Yeah, everybody's 2-2 right now in the NFC West. How incredible is that?
That's
so. As I said, a lot of parity in the NFL this year so far. Yeah, even my Bears are 2-2. If you don't think there's parity, my Bears are 2-2. So figure that one out, my friend. Yeah, exactly. How we won 2, I'll never know, but we did. So there you go.
Oh my goodness, I hear you.
Yeah, that's right.
But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. Nicholas, thank you for being a part of the show. Catch Nicholas Rosario and the crew of Let's Talk Football, the Round Table, and also to me and Nick are with Sean Spencer and Dylan Walsh on Let's Talk
Sunday show.
Sunday.
That's right, baby. Preview everything.
We preview the football games, and we even give a little insight on the games before we
like
start.
To speak our minds.
Yes.
Some sort of that sort of thing. We like to speak
even
about
though some
stuff.
of us may get cut off the.
Well, I think I've been taken off at least 3 times on the show, right? Just all of a sudden my feed went out. I don't know what happened there. I couldn't tell you. So I think it's how it goes, man.
Yes. Oh, I wish I could play it. I didn't have it up, but really quick. You did the best Shannon Sharp impression. That was really good.
You guys don't see now. I appreciate that because I knew while I was doing it, I'm like, I hope this goes over well because obviously Handy is known for doing the Shannon Sharp impression, but that was my whole point in doing it was because of what I was talking about, and it involved Handy, and I was like, well, I'm gonna give it back to him and see how he likes it. So I gave him the Shannon Sharp, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, hey, that was pretty good. So thank you all for indulging me in my little impression there. And, it was a lot of fun. We always have fun on Tuesday. And I appreciate all you guys do. Nate, thank you for having me on your show. This is my second or third time with you. So I really do appreciate you, having me on. It's a great time always. I appreciate you're like the hardest working man in podcast history. So you got like 8 shows going every day. There's like a new, I'm like, oh, Nate's putting out another podcast. Okay, we'll have to check that one out. You're previewing football. You're doing baseball. You talk WNBA. You talk NBA. You talk this and that. Like this guy covers everything. It's amazing. So I really do appreciate you, sir. Honestly, I do. Thank you so much for what you do because it's fun, to be well rounded in that sense. You got your hand a little bit of everything. So I appreciate that as well. I know you do. That's what I said. Hey, man, it's not people. I challenge anyone who thinks that this, this is easy. I challenge you to put up a podcast weekly 4 or 5 times. That's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to talk bad about anyone, but if you think it's easy, you go ahead and give it a shot. See how you do. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Really quick. Here's the clip. I found it. We're going to play it really quick.
Oh, you did? Okay. All right. Here we go. The gentleman is on the show. And yet during my segment, what is he doing? Playing around on his computer, making notes, telling jokes, trying to be a funny guy. Do I do that during your segment, sir? Do I sit there and make comments? Do I laugh at you? No, I do not, sir. What is this? I thought we had a better relationship than this. You know what? Don't make me go Shannon Sharp on you. Because I'm telling you, let me tell you something there, Skip. I don't think this is right. Because you be making comments during my segment. I don't think this is funny. I don't think it's funny at all. And let me tell you something else. When I was playing for the Broncos, I caught every pass that threw to me. Let me tell you something, Skip Bayless. That's what I'm saying to you. So anyway, there you go.
Jokes aside.
Oh, man. There you go. Nothing like having fun.
Gosh.
So if you want more of that, guys, shameless plug, check out the Roundtable Tuesday nights. Me, Delilah Crespo, Anthony Handy, Mr. Fingers. We have a great time on Tuesdays. Nate's been on the show before, and we do hope to get Nate back again to talk about his Ravens very soon, hopefully with better news than what happened last week. So, Nate will definitely have you on soon, Nate.
Yes.
I will definitely get you back on to talk about those Ravens, my friend.
Definitely. My people will get in contact with you.
Always a good time. That's right. Well, we'll talk. We'll have the meeting. We'll set it up. We'll do the whole thing. Negotiate contracts, all that good stuff. We got to do all that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, ladies and
you guys
gentlemen,
think this is easy? Try negotiating Nate's contract. Let me tell you. Let me tell you something. I guarantee. No. Anyways, I know. I'm having too much fun now. Now I'm just being silly.
Oh, my
that's
goodness. All. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to conclude the episode. Thank you for tuning in. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Y'all have a good night. Have a good weekend.
Watch Nate every night. Trust me, you'll love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And have a good weekend. Enjoy college football. Enjoy these football games. And also, to stay safe, stay cool, and do something fun.
Yes.
I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.
Have a good night. Take it easy, guys.
But I get sick of these guys complaining. These young guys, they never call us and say, when a coach is wrong, I'm going to call him out. But when players are wrong, I'm going to call them out. Thanks for the kind words. But listen, I'm going to criticize guys that they deserve it. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode and you want to see more content, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bring your sports game on Big Nate Sports Talk.
broken. Future, all the plans you made in your heart grew just to die. And now you're damaged goods, damaged should have never been. Thought you were bulletproof, look at you, what happened? Did